Welcome everybody. For me, it's a great pleasure is here with Gary and Sandro, and in this beautiful occasion to the research in Perugia.
And Gary, it's a wonderful opportunity to have you here, and it's a pleasure. We met, I don't know if you remember, several months ago.
Yes.
And we started with this project, and we reminded some a period of more than 30 years. And I told you that I was in US.
That's right.
In 80s and 90s, and I met several people, and I know that you know these people, mainly biologists. Was an art center for reproductive medicine in California, US. And I know these people. Do you remember who are there?
Of course. I mean, Dr. Ricardo Ash and Terry Ord. And, I think it was an amazing opportunity to start talking about that. And, we don't know each other for long, but as we start to talk, we see how many people that we know together, both in Italy as well as in the United States. And it just reminds me that in a scientific arena, it really is a small world. And I think that's one of the great opportunities here, is to be able to collaborate in a way with friends and colleagues that you meet over the years. And, I think we've met maybe a couple of years ago. In the past, I've had PhD students come to the University of Michigan, where I work, and do their PhDs from the University of Bari.
You said you work in Michigan. Exactly. Tell us, what is your responsibility in your university?
So I'm a professor of OBGYN, urology, and physiology. I've run the in vitro fertilization program at the University of Michigan for almost 30 years now. And actually, as I've moved through the ranks, I now direct what is called the reproductive science program, which has about 60 to 70 faculty members in all different areas of reproductive biology and reproductive policies at the University of Michigan. And
What happens collaborating with the University of Perugia?
Oh, I think, we know in the arena of reproductive biology and treatment of infertility, there's very good programs all across the country and in the world, right? And this is one of those in Italy that's very well known for the work that you guys do, both basic and understanding what causes infertility, but then also treating infertility. And I think that's, to me, as I look at this collaboration, as it's developed over the last year or so and will continue to develop, it has that opportunity to be unique in that we have a physician who really takes care of patients every day. We have a physiologist that really studies electrophysiology, or things you think about happening more in the brain. But, I'm a biologist. I study the oocyte, sperm, and embryo.
So the project, in simple words, could you explain how is the project? What should you do and what would you do?
Yeah.
During this project?
In particular, you define the role of innervation in the physiology of ovary. This is the principal aim that this collaboration starts.
Absolutely. And, again, it's really looking at things that many times we haven't thought about happening in the ovary or in the oocyte. We think about many of these pathways happening in the brain, but as we begin to investigate other parts of the body, we find out that the ovary has some things very similar to the brain.
Exactly.
And again, my impression here is that we have the ability to answer questions about normal reproductive physiology and how we might use what we find to treat infertility. And again, it takes a team, and I think that's the beauty of this, is that we have started this team that, isn't going to happen every day.
Would you think
if it is possible to name it the ovary system nervous system, it's possible.
I think they both
scenario.
I mean, we haven't thought about them interacting like we probably should, I think, we've talked about some work that we did 20 years ago that would imply that, yeah, we should be looking at this. And yet again, we can't look at it just in a research lab. We need to look at it applied to patient samples and to human samples. We do a lot of work in mice and model species, but many times what we find don't translate into the human. And so that is the beauty of having Sandro's input here, is from a clinical perspective. He not only gives that perspective, but he also gives us the opportunity to work with samples that we wouldn't be able to work with otherwise.
Do you think that thought from the University of Perugia could start to achieve a new target, a goal important from the treatment of infertility?
I think so. And again, it's everything that we do or that we find important. If you look over the decades past, it's defining what something does. So defining this neural input to the ovary and what it does. And then once we understand what it does, then we're better positioned to say, hey, does this tell us why someone has infertility? What we might be able to overcome to treat that infertility? I think we all want to sometimes treat infertility in a way that it's not complicated. And if we can learn things and say, okay, now we don't have to do something complicated that costs a lot of money. We can actually now try to treat people in a way that gives them an opportunity to reproduce. This is critical, right? This is something everybody wants to be able to do. And so I think that's the beauty of this collaboration.
So let's hope that we will reach this goal.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.